The number one retirement expense by far. My man Harry sent this to me, and he said, Josh, this is exactly what you've been talking about for years. Yep. And on top of that, this is why I focus so much on CPI as well, because it's the same. All right, let's go with this. All right, so this is from Market Watch, Dateline December 3rd by Andrew Schilling. He's Schilling. He's a shill for Schilling. Let's see who Andrew is, by the way. I don't know who he is. Might be a good guy. Don't know. Let's take a gander. Here he is. He's a reporter for Market Watch, writing about savings. Previously, he's an associate managing editor at Financial Planning Magazine. All right, good. But he lives in Brooklyn, like all these guys do. All right, because that's where all the cool kids live. All right, so let's see what we got. And here are these two people, very worried. They're like, oh, look at that statement. We're just going to go cut to the chase right here. Average monthly expenditures for 65 and older, including rent, groceries, and healthcare, stand around $4,300. According to the latest government data. In 2016, Americans were getting away with spending nearly $1,000 less. Okay. But inflation only recently starting to cool from its 40-year high, Americans may have to prepare for tightened spending habits in the future. Interesting. So let's keep going here. The 5 biggest expenses for older Americans. Housing. All right, so remember, the average American is spending $4,300 a month. The average household, I should say. Average household, about $4,300 a month. That's a little bit more than $52,000 a year, $50,000 a year. All right. Of that $4,300 a month, $1,500 goes to housing. Let's take a gander, shall we? Our trusty calculator, we divide the amount we're spending housing versus the amount of income we have, spending we have. Oh, you see that? 36%. 36% of our expenditures go to housing. Now remember, this is $4,300. The average expenditures. This is not the income. It's the average expenditures. So let's take a gander at what, let me show you something. This is CPI, shelter. 37% of CPI, inflation. CPI is Consumer Price Index. Someone said, I don't understand the words you said. I don't know what CPI is. I don't know how anyone who's looking at retirement planning doesn't know what CPI is. Consumer Price Index, every month is updated. Every month. As BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, is called inflation. There's shelter. 37.36% of CPI is adjusted for shelter. Total housing is 47%, but shelter, now what does shelter include? Maintenance is only 0.526% of the entirety of your CPI. Maintenance. What shelter includes of, let me show you right here. Shelter. 37% is shelter, of which rent of primary residence is 7%, and this is from August 2022. Shelter 32%. It changes a little bit, not much, about a third. Owner's equivalent rent is 24%. Now, what is owner's equivalent rent? Let's take a look here. The second approach to measure housing costs and CPI attempts to estimate the flow of services for an owner dwelling based on market rents for rented dwellings. The research led a method identified as rental equivalence. This method measures the rate of change in the amount an owner would need to pay in order to rent on the open market. It is based on the actual market rents collected from a sample of renter-occupied housing units. The rate of change in the amount an owner would need to pay in order to rent on the open market. That is the biggest proportion of CPI is right here. The shelter thing is about a third or so, which consists of renting your primary residence. Well, I don't rent. And owner's equivalent rent of residence, as if you did rent it to yourself. That is the CPI from the Consumer Expenditure Survey, which is right here. Which is this right here. $1,500. So this is what this is so frustrating to me. The Consumer Expenditure Survey says the average household who's over 65 spends $1,500 a month on their housing costs. Okay. we're going to extrapolate that, not on the actual cost of housing, but we're going to extrapolate that amount, which is 35% roughly for simplicity. And we're going to use that not on the actual cost of what people spend, which is maintenance, mortgage, interest, property tax. We're going to use that for owner's equivalent rent and rent of primary residence. Baby, I got to shut my door here. Oh, before I forget, if you want to be my email list, the very first link in the doobly-doo down there, just sign up for it. It's free. I send about 1 or 2 emails a week. Anyway, so, by the way, too, we'll talk about it. So hang tight for the secret sauce here. All right, so they're literally using what people spend their money on. Well, they spend their money on housing, and they're extrapolating that in terms of CPI. And this is going back to, again, here, what he said about inflation up here. But with inflation only recently starting to cool, inflation based on what? CPI. Based on what? The biggest component of CPI is housing costs of inflation. Does your housing cost go up? Is it worth a third of your total expenditure? Well, not if you don't have a mortgage, because this includes your mortgage, your property tax, your homeowner's insurance, your mortgage interest, all that. Right here. Pay off your mortgage before you retire. Finn, I'm trying to do a video. Roughly half of retirees now have a mortgage, which is literally part of this number, but it's not part of CPI. They don't use mortgage as part of CPI. They used to. Let me show them. I gotta shut this door. Yeah, I know. Look at that guy. Look at guilty party. I know we love you, but all right. Let me show what I'm talking about here. All right. So we're gonna go down here. This is from my soon-to-become book, by the way. All right, hold on a sec. The objective of the CPI is to measure the change in expenditures required to maintain a certain standard of living. For expenditures on houses, this leads to a measurement objective that focuses on the shelter services provided by a house over a period of time. That makes sense. A house is a capital asset, and that emphasizes mine because it's coming from my book. It's a capital asset. It's on the balance sheet. CPI is an income statement. Money going in, money coming out. It's crazy. Anyway, what they used to measure housing costs and inflation by, they attempted to estimate the flow of shelter services for an owned dwelling from items related to living in it. This is called the user cost and includes such items as real estate taxes, insurance, and interest estimate based on the market value. Now, let me show you something here. This is the old way they used to do this. Home ownership was 25% of CPI as of 1982 until basically 1978. They changed it, and then it didn't really come into effect until 1982. All right, this was the old day. Home purchase, 10%. Financing, taxes, and insurance, 12%. Interesting. Then they had some other things thrown in there, which is going to be maintenance and repairs, 3.5%. Maintenance and repairs is now only 0.526%. Huh? Because the owner's equivalent rent is 13.5, and we got renter's cost 6.3. It's crazy, man. This is it makes no sense. This is the change from 1982, by the way. This is 1982 numbers, which is why it's a little bit different for shelter than it is today. All right, so let's keep going back. Roughly half of retirees now have a mortgage. Harvard says 1990 was only about 1 in 4. Yeah, because people, they just... And for older households, housing tends to be the greatest expense in average dollar amount, except if you don't have a mortgage. And it's certainly not changing if you do, because most people have a fixed rate. I talked to a guy yesterday, 2.25 is fixed rate. I said, don't pay it off while you're getting 4.5 on freaking CDs. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, the point being is, yes, he still has a mortgage, but that's not even included in his CPI because it's fixed at 2.25. But yet CPI uses, I hope this makes sense, his expenditures on his house as part of this, the increase in the cost of living, but it's not because it's fixed. And if you don't have a mortgage, there isn't any. The problem for those trying to retire on a tight budget is for one big reason: housing is expensive. Of course, paying off your mortgage doesn't release all the housing costs. You'll still need insurance, taxes, and more, but it can alleviate the biggest chunk. Owning your own home will certainly cut down on expenses in retirement. Aggressively paying down your mortgage may make it difficult to save or invest, yes, but if you have a place to live in, as long as you pay off your freaking your homeowner's insurance and real estate tax. That you don't even have to have homeowner's insurance. I was talking to somebody the other day with no homeowner's insurance. As long as you pay your real estate tax, they're not going to put you out. Anyway, all right. So that's that. Oh, by the way, let me show you something. You can get this on Kindle for free. Here's my book. I've purchased this book a bunch of times. Here's my You Can Retire on Social Security. Right now, it's available on Kindle. I don't think it's just Kindle Unlimited. I can't remember. I thought I had. I thought I made it free. Is the offer over now? I can't remember. But anyway, so $0 on Kindle Unlimited. I use Kindle Unlimited because I read a lot. $9.99 a month for Kindle Unlimited. Everything's for free. You can get the audio book free with a trial. Paperback's $5.99. You can actually get it used. Interesting. But anyway, 0 on Kindle Unlimited. Now, I actually think these kind of books you should want the hardcover or the hard copy. But be it as it may. Let me see something else. I thought I made it free. Maybe it was a Kindle countdown. Maybe that's over now. Yeah, every now and again, every month, I'll do a Kindle countdown, like 99 cents or something like that. Oh, the baby. But I think they only give you 5 days. Yeah, I think today's the last day. I don't think it's available anymore. But it's still free on the Kindle Unlimited. You should freaking sign up for Kindle Unlimited, dude. If you like to read, freaking Kindle Unlimited kicks ass. $9, $9.99 a month, and all the books you could possibly read. That's not literally all, but you have 10 out at any given time. Crazy. All right. Love your thoughts. Don't forget to sign up for the email list and follow me on Locals as well. Link in there as well. See ya.